Hi, welcome to the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. I'm your host. My name is Banki. The Takeout Effect brings real conversations in business. Today's guest has been featured on in Impact Magazine, a few websites, nj.com, tapinto.net. She is the founder of the Jill Jones Statement. Everyone, please welcome Jill Jones. Hi,
Hi.
Jill.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, thank you for joining us today.
You're
So,
welcome.
Joe Jones, Joe, can you tell everyone more about who you are and what you do?
Well, as you already mentioned, I am Jill Jones, and I'm the founder of the Jill Jones Statement. And what we do at the Jill Jones Statement is we are advocates for change. We live in a world where there are two extremes, black and white, and we just want to showcase all the people that's in the middle that, are banking for culture and humanity and things of that nature. So one of our logos is we are better when we work together.
Amazing, amazing. So, just to dive right into it,
Mhm.
um, you are from New Jersey,
Correct.
um, and you are biracial. Your background is of the Cayman Islands, and you were born and raised in New Jersey, correct?
Correct. Correct.
So what was racism like for you as a biracial woman?
Okay. So, as you said, my mom is from the Cayman Islands. My dad was from England, and they had me. And we lived in New Jersey. We lived in a predominantly African American community. It was a little bit different for us because my parents, being that they weren't from this country, they weren't able to teach us. Well, when I say this country, let me backtrack. I am in U.S. So when they say that, they weren't from this country, so they weren't able to teach us, the history or the background or anything about racism that was in U.S. because they weren't from this country. So technically, we really, as kids, didn't get what people coined as the Black experience because we didn't have our parents didn't endure those devastations that were in this country in regards to racism from their country. They didn't endure those atrocities that happened in slavery or any of those things. So it was a little bit different for us because when we were outside, and I had discussed this with my siblings, when we were outside, we experienced a little bit American. But when I crossed that door, my parents raised us Caymanian. So we were raised in the Caymanian culture.
Okay. So moving forward to 2020,
Hmm.
and 2020 has been a hell of a year.
Yeah.
Not only did we have to battle the COVID-19 global pandemic, but there was also the pandemic on racism. And it was, for me, the first time in my existence that I've ever seen anything like this, where everyone around the world uniting to stop in efforts to stop racism, right? And
Mhm.
this was shortly after the George Floyd incident, and his verdict happened this week. And we know that there has been a long list of victims that have lost their lives due to racism in America. We hear about a lot of things happening in America, but it happens all over the world, right?
Correct.
I can say some of the names like, Susan Bland, Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, George Floyd.
Right.
Um, and, there's a lot of movement that happened as a result of that. There is the Black Lives Movement, right?
Right. Right.
Um, this all led to the birth of the Jill Jones Statement. Can you tell us how the Jill Jones Statement was birthed and what it is?
Okay. So, I would say that there are a lot of different elements to the Jill Jones statement and how it came about. Those There were some elements, but not the direct element. So once George Floyd's situation happened, um, my siblings and I and my cousin had like long conversations. We were like really trying to figure out like what happened, what caused all this, and how we felt like more or less aliens in the whole situation. Because as I said before, we didn't get taught the Black experience. We didn't have the Black experience because we were, basically Americans living in like a foreign rearing type of household, because my parents weren't able to teach us those things. They only taught us what they knew culturally. So after George Floyd, my sister was very, very devastated, as much as, I mean, a lot of us in the country. And we had conversations and we talked about it. And, I came up with the statement, white cannot exist without Black, which have a lot to do with me, of course, because I endure both sides. And also because, there is a misconception in this country that, one is more superior than the other. And, when you look at everything of the aspect of Black and white, first of all, civilization started in Africa, and we can coin that. And also, when you look at different things in throughout the world, I mean, what would a book be like if you didn't have those Black words on that white page? So, and there are like other things. I mean, there are white cars out here, but if they didn't have those Black tires, they wouldn't be able to ride on the road. So there are so many different things when it comes to like Black and white, that one can't exist without the other. And basically that was my statement, to say one can't exist without the other. We do need each other to survive and keep going on in this world. And that was basically how the statement came about. And that was called the Jill Jones statement.
Okay. So with the Jill Jones statement, white cannot exist without Black, right? Um, One second here. How were you able to turn it into a business?
Well, first I came up with the statement. But prior to the statement, let me just go back a little bit. All right. So first it was passion, understanding, and then investing into myself. And then I met up with Go Green, my management company, that
Mhm.
brought this all to life. So all of those elements together birthed the Jill Jones statement and turned it into a business. Sorry. And then I started to make merch, and part of that came to my humanity thoughts, and moving on and creating a global effect where we tell everybody we work better when we work together. And don't forget about the people in the middle, because it's not just Black and white in this country. There are tons of people in the middle. There are tons of cultures. I mean, there are a lot of people where we share the same color but not the same culture, and it doesn't mean that they are different or strange. It just means that we need to find out about each other's culture. So that was all birth. So I'm going to go back to Go Green was an instrumental, you know, instrument in our whole process, because they were the management company that helped my vision come to life.
Okay. And shout out to Go Green. Um, so would you say you're an activist?
I'm not like an activist, although that is a great, great position.
Hmm.
I'm more of an advocate for change. Like, let's just stop looking at color and look more of culture, because that really defines us. Because, like I said before, we could share the same skin color, But you know what? If you don't share the same culture, you don't really understand that person. So, I'm just advocating for people to get out there and find out about different cultures and find out about different people, because it's really the root of people is culture. It's not their skin color.
Okay. So with that now, you have you now have a business. The Jill Jones Statement. It's
Yes.
an LLC business,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What are the services does Jill Jones Statement? What services do they offer?
Well, right now, we are looking into doing a 501c. We're planning to do that. We first started off as an LLC because basically it was more of a passion to get things up and running, to get the message out. That was like the go to. So now we're looking forward to becoming a nonprofit. We had already discussed the lines of how that's going to happen, and our future plans in that. And with that, we'll be doing a lot more of community outreach, more humanitarian things, and just spreading the word that we are better when we work together. So we're just looking to build on that, and just take it to a global effect and say, hey, all this time we're fighting, and we're fighting against each other, and because of color of our skin, that doesn't hold any relevance, because guess what, there are people of many different colors that does a lot of great things for this country, and have been doing a lot of great things, for a long period of time. So I mean, to just say, oh, one is better than the other, it doesn't really exist. I mean, that's the facade of it. But the great reality is this country is a melting pot, but we don't need to melt together. We just need to understand each other. So with that, we will be bringing that message through our community outreach, and doing different events to show people that, we're different, but we also share a lot of similarities. And also through our humanitarian efforts, we'll be doing that as well.
Okay. And what is the FACE? Because I went on your website and I saw that there was 5 pillars to the acronym FACE. Do you want to go over what FACE is?
Okay. FACE is some guidelines that we had come up with to express the Jill Jones Statement, to say what we are about. So FACE is FACED. So F stands for financial literacy. We want to put that, well, we have that in our program, and we're planning to um, get that information out. And how does finance affect each culture? What we have been doing, how do you improve on that? So we're looking to do that. A is for anti-racism. We want to kind of bring down the effect of racism, basically try to oust that, because I mean, I know it's not going to be totally gone, but let's minimize it. So
Mhm.
anti-racism is to help people understand what racism is about, how it affects people, and what we want to happen in the future to eliminate a lot of it. Then we have C is for culture. Everybody have some piece of culture with them, culture and traditions, and that we are very, very big on, because culture is really what makes the person. It's not the color of their skin, it's not the color of their eyes, it's not the texture of their hair. It's basically your culture make you. So then we have E. E is for education, education on all the above, because you need education in order to understand different people. So I was once told, you cannot heal unless you listen. So in education, we want people to listen and say, you know what, this person may be different, but it doesn't make them a threat. And then we have D. D is for diversity and immersion. Years ago, it was more like people of color would have to be included. We're not looking for inclusion. We're looking for immersion. Everybody merging together, understanding what each other's culture is. what their fears are, what their strengths are. So and those are the things, because faith is like a powerful thing when you put them all together. And once you have all of that, I mean, we can get a lot of things done. So faith is going to be a very good instrument of our outreach program.
Okay. So, it's is it a series of programs or is it one specific program?
It's a series of programs that are all meshed together. What we are looking to do, more or less, is to have everyone experience all the elements of faith, because one without the other really kind of just like leave you like hanging through the loop. So if you experience all the faith, you know, um, programs, then what you will have is a full-fledged roundabout education on culture, people, humanity, color, racism, finances, all of that. So once you get that full effect, I mean, it will be a very, very instrumental thing. And going forward into your life, you will see that those elements will be very helpful in approaching many, many different cultures and many, many different people and walks of life.
And who would you be targeting to offer those programs? Are you targeting businesses, or are you targeting, recreation centers, um, individuals? Who would you be targeting
We,
specifically?
we're we're starting with individuals and communities where it's desperately needed to have them enhance who they are and their cultural backgrounds and their finances and things of those nature, because we all know that in this country, when I'm saying U.S. in this country, it's more like a very unleveled scale when it comes to certain aspects of finances and education. So we will be starting off with um, community outreaches and individuals, but it's not just catered towards those. When I say start, that's a start, but it's not just catered to those. Everyone is welcome to the programs.
Okay. And would that program be accessible on your website in the future once it's all sorted out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You will be able to find all the information on our websites, on our social media platforms, because we want to make sure that it's ready and accessible to those who are looking for it. So, yes, it would be.
And going back to the LLC versus nonprofit, right? You
Hmm.
started off with LLC, and I can really say, um, for me, I'm the founder of Business Takeout, and it's a social enterprise that provides education resources to Canadian Black entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs all over the world,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
What I would say is, when I started, um, I wasn't sure what area to go into. And
Right.
in my research, I then realized that nonprofit was the best way to go for me, right?
Right. Hmm.
And it looks like you're on that same similar journey where you went in and you started as an LLC, then you realized, that may not be the right direction I want to go. Maybe nonprofit is the better direction to go.
Hmm.
That's pretty much what happened, right?
Yes, yes. So, as you said, it was kind of testing the waters to see see what we were doing and where we were going with it, because it just started off as, just a statement. And then, it evolved into something very beautiful. So, yes, starting off at an LLC, and then after doing research and kind of collaborating that with what I wanted to do as a as like community outreach programs and humanitarian programs, it seems like the 501c was the way to go and do a nonprofit. So yes.
Okay. And it's great to go that direction. I also wanted to say, if you have any advice, I would say, because what it sounds like to me is that you things were happening all over the world. People were affected by it,
Hmm.
and you got passion as a result of it.
Correct.
And you created a movement. And in addition to that, you turned that movement into a business, right?
Correct. Correct.
Um, what advice would you have? And even the part about LLC to nonprofit, those are simple mistakes that every entrepreneur makes when they just
Mhm.
start a business. Um, what advice would you have for anyone who has a passion of any sort and is looking to turn it into a business?
Okay. So, I mean, my advice would be first, make sure it's a passion for you. And after getting that passion, because that passion will take you a long way. And then after having that passion, be willing to invest in yourself, and make sure that you are willing to invest in yourself, whether that's time, money, passion, staying up late, doing different things, and putting in the grunt work, working more hours than you sleep, of course. And then, I mean, reach out to Go Green. They're a very, very great management company, and they shed some light on my direct.
Sorry, I'm having difficulty hearing you.
Reach out to them. Sorry.
Sorry, the last part chipped out. I'm not sure what happened, but you said
Oh, okay.
you mentioned Go Green, and then after
Right.
I didn't hear anything after that.
Oh, okay. So I was saying that reach out to Go Green. They are an extraordinary management company. They gave me direction after, and we took it from there. So, as I said before, I would just get a passion, um, believe in your passion, take your passion to the max, be able to invest in yourself, and hit up Go Green. They're a very great management company. If not Go Green, then the one of your choice. But that's who I went with. And,
Yeah,
they brought me to light.
definitely. So, what are the future goals? Any future goals at all for the Jill Jones statement?
Yes. I mentioned it before. 501c is one of
Mhm.
our goals. We will be doing that very, very soon. Doing a lot of community outreach. When I say community outreach, going into different community centers, different community organizations, and setting up our face programs, and also, like, just spreading the word and having them understand what the Jill Jones statement is about. That is one of our goals. And another one of our goals is to do a lot of outreach for humanitarian, like just, looking at underprivileged cultural kids and communities, and looking to see what they need and seeing if the Jill Jones statement can help them. And another one of our goals is to get the Jill Jones Statement TV up and running, and have
Mhm.
people have a platform where people can express how they felt and their cultural dilemmas, and what they need to do going forward.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jill, for joining us today. For anyone who's watching this video,
Absolutely.
please feel free to like and share and subscribe. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And how would everyone get in contact with you for anyone who needs to contact you?
Well, we are at the JillJonesStatement.com, and we're also on Instagram, the Jill Jones Statement. So you could find us on any of those platforms, or just Google us, the Jill Jones Statement. So I appreciate anyone who is going to hit us up, like and follow us, and just enjoy the conversations and all the content.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Have a good day.
Thank you, Banki. Bye bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.